Special public service announcement from Mr. Frog, and it's pretty simple. He says, do not buy during the all-time highs if you can't stomach the pain. Because the people who just bought gold at all-time highs, I don't know if it was some propaganda, but in some of these other countries, they were displaying lines out the door, people trying to buy physical gold. That's what happens. Not financial advice. I do think gold is gonna keep going up like crazy, but when you buy at all-time highs, that's what happens. Price action today, we're sitting at a 239 XRP. Like I said, we were going up yesterday, and then Trump, yet again, dude, there will be 155%. We're going to get into it. We got a lot of good stuff to go through today. I can't believe we're at 239, and after the lawsuit, we were ripping upwards of like 250, bro. Or no, 350. What the hell am I even saying? It's early in the morning. I got the coffee. This Tony Edwards guy, we are still in a bull market. The whales and market makers have done their job again, putting many investors into fear, and many have gotten emotional and panic sold. The herd believes the bull market is over, and the market always does the opposite of the herd. I don't know who this guy is, but I do agree with that. Jim Cramer opening his mouth again today. Let's get to that. This bozo tweets at 5:35 a.m. Crypto due for a push today. We are in 2000 territory on specs. It is where the cockroaches are. But at the same time, Jamie Dimon said the cockroaches are ending. He announces a $1.5 trillion fund that unwittingly stoked a huge spec wave. We must focus on this before people really get hurt. Trim. This guy writes as if he has four thumbs. I don't know. He's so this guy's a mental case, bro. I can't stand this guy. It is actually true. Whenever he tweets something, it always does the opposite. Look at this Yu-Gi-Oh card, bro. Inverse Cramer trap card. With this inversion, every statement made by Jim Cramer is flipped. Success rate 100%. It really is. Dude, remember he tweeted, it was like a week or two before the massive flash crash, $19 billion in liquidations. And he tweeted, it was a picture of the national debt, and it was, buy crypto. And then look what happens. Same thing with Eric Trump, dude. Every time they tweet, fucking scumbags, bro. But this I can't fully interpret. Crypto due for a push today. What does that mean? This is what AI is for, bro. I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in Grok. So when he says crypto is due for a push today, Cramer is predicting a short-term price surge, a push upward in crypto like Bitcoin today. This could be driven by blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the fact that he even just said that alone thinks we're going to crash hardcore. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yo, this is what I was looking for. Look. You can't see on the thing, but every time he has tweeted something bullish about it, it has gone down. Every time. It's actually incredible because he's definitely a puppet, dude. Like if you're on CNBC, especially a financial thing, like you need a blah, blah, blah. You need Mr. Frog, dude. That's what you need. You need this dude. Mr. Frog has more credibility than Jim Cramer, actually. Mr. Frog's call is that XRP is by at least $4 by next year. Justin, President Trump says gas, grocery, and energy prices are way down. We have a real all right, here we go.
Gasoline prices are way down. Grocery prices are way down. Energy prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down. We have a real stiff at the Federal Reserve. I can't help that. But he's going to be leaving soon.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Getting Jerome out.
Inflation has been defeated. But even though his rates are too high, the economy has been amazing.
Okay. I wouldn't say way down or whatever, dude. It's so annoying. Eleanor Terra getting it done. Thanks to Governor Waller for giving us the skinny on the Skinny Master account at the Federal Reserve's Payment Innovation Conference yesterday. Definitely one of those career pinch me days. Get a little pinch. So yesterday, yeah, they had their Payment Innovation Conference and they were going off about how what any of us would have a brain knew was coming for a long time. They're going to utilize the private industry for a lot of this stuff, and the worlds are going to go, and they're going to merge. I mean, it wasn't that hard to kind of spot. You just got to pick the right tokens. We'll get into that later, too, of why you stick to tokens that have been proven over time, because people still investing in crap at this late in the game. Good old baldy Brian Armstrong. Nah, Brian Armstrong's whatever to me. Here's reminds me of Lex Luthor. Heading to D.C. tomorrow, excited to roll up our sleeves with key decision makers to get market structure to the president's desk. Momentum for market structure clarity is at an all-time high, which is why we've seen both sides commit to getting work done on a bill even during a shutdown. Eager to talk with Senate Dems, GOP, White House to get this done. And then I wrote under it, I go, this is definitely not going to happen until Q1 2026. And I'm sticking by that. I don't see any world where that gets done. Good old Joel Katz, huge increase in phishing emails claiming hardware, wallet security upgrades, or verification processes. Ignore any such messages you receive unless you can independently confirm them, and never enter a hardware wallet seed phrase into anything other than a hardware wallet. People still falling for this crap. Like, it's insane, because some story blew up where the guy was crying, I just lost $3 million in my XRP. And then everyone's like, if it was in a cold wallet, no one would have stole it. So there's more to the story. Turns out there was more to the story. He entered his seed phrase or something, connected it to a hot wallet of some kind, and then the seed phrase got out. So, I mean, like, cold storage, put it in a freezer so you can mentally visualize cold storage, and don't touch it, bro. Doesn't mean I don't feel bad for the guy. I definitely have, empathy. Justin, $1.75 trillion wiped out from gold's market cap today. I think it was down about around 6%, give or take. It was not a nice visual, because it actually did look like this picture right here. It looked like that, which usually you see in the crypto. But yet again, when these things are running up, people are going to take profits. Because then we got guys poking fun at it. But gold is a store of value. LOL. I think it is a store of value. I think it's a much stronger store of value than Bitcoin, if I'm being honest. Bro, I cannot. After all these years, I started in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's is usually everyone's introduction to this market. Yet again, I've been in since 2017. I still cannot come around to, like, how Bitcoin does not get dethroned in the future. Arguably, possibly even the near future, but I do think the government is kind of behind it. It just kind of seems obvious, and they need it for whatever purpose they're trying to serve. Yet again, could be a whole plate of different options. Because everyone, we still have to keep in mind, the World Economic Forum, the One World Order, all that craziness, it's still out there. That seemed to, very oddly, be pushed in the background, because it was in the forefront for a while, where all eyes were on the World Economic Forum when they're holding this, and back when Klaus Schwab was still the head of it, and he's up there dressing like Darth Vader, and he's like, we need the one world government, and it's all the most powerful people you could ever imagine in the room, and they still run it. But now Larry Fink of BlackRock is the head of it, and not Klaus Schwab anymore. They're still out there, dude, and this was one of their agendas. We all forget this because we get caught up because we're trying to make some good money, just like me, just like the rest of us. We're all trying to make some money in this market. They want that digital currency for privacy and all this. And yeah, okay, they have the anti-CBDC Act. Well, they can't do it here. I don't know. Like, they're not stupid, bro. Some of them are stupid, but they're not gonna they gotta give you the illusion that it's free and decentralized. Like, they're not gonna come out and say it's centralized. The masses have to want it, is all I'm getting at. More of this tariff crap. Just in, President Trump says higher tariffs on China won't be sustainable for them. Obviously, dude, like, just get them to the table. They're supposed to meet in South Korea on the 31st. Get it done, dude. This has been dragging on like crazy. Easier said than done. It's two countries trying to renegotiate trade. I'm sitting there talking crap, but you know what I mean. Come on. He's just manipulating the markets, dude. It's so frustrating because he just did it again. We'll get to it. 155% November 1st. NASDAQ, we are seeing institutional interest expand beyond Bitcoin to tokens like XRP.
I also think it's encouraging, Nick, that we're seeing it broaden out beyond Bitcoin, and we're starting to understand the fundamentals and other applications.
What'd she say? She finds it interesting?
Broaden out beyond Bitcoin, and we're starting to understand the fundamentals and other applications when you think about the institutional use cases for the digital asset space.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that the early kind of mover in this was Bitcoin particularly. But the way that I really like to see this is we're building a new financial wallet system. So if you picture tomorrow's wallet, we've got Bitcoin. So they're the digital gold. They sit inside.
I hate that narrative is now what that is. It's digital gold. That's subjective. I don't understand, bro. Like, what is the value of Bitcoin? Because in the beginning, it was supposed to be, oh, it's a peer-to-peer payment. You don't got to deal with the government. Like, the goalpost is moved throughout the years. Now the talking point is it's digital gold. That wasn't the promise before. It's like value proposition. I don't know, man. I'm not even trying to be a maxi. I cannot understand how something like an XRP or just these other tokens that are limited supply cap and XRP is deflationary, and it's actually what appears to be, cross our fingers, hope to die, the evidence kind of seems in our face, that is going to be the plumbing of some sort, and the price is going to go a lot fucking higher, dude. I mean, you could sit there and cry all you want. There's a great story, if you guys ever want me to tell it, of when I ran into a Bitcoin maxi at the gas station like a couple of months ago. Fucking wild, bro. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
And act as this finite supply.
It's slow. It's high transactions. Even with Lightning, it doesn't compare to something like the technology is just obsolete. It takes in obscene amounts of energy to run it. Why would we do that? XRP doesn't even fucking take any.
Borderless transactions and really self-custodied with a password, not a vault. Whether you're hedging inflation or sort of dodging local currency turmoil,
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting ramped up because the coffee's hitting my veins this morning. I can understand it's digital gold value proposition, but it's only that now because they are pushing the masses into it.
And then you've got Ethereum. So that's the app platform. So Ethereum's the wallet's app store. Smart contracts so that you trade, borrow, or earn yield without a bank. And owning ETH is really just like holding gas in a global financial operating system, one that's open source and runs 24/7. Then you've got XRP. So they're the cross-border bridge. And XRP works really behind the scenes as that instant FX bridge. So banks convert dollars to XRP, beam it abroad in 3 seconds, and cash it out in local currency, potentially cutting remittance fees from 7% to under 1%. And then you've got Solana, the high-speed rail. So Solana provides the commuter rail, really hundreds of transactions per second with very tiny fees. So your subway tap, in-game purchase, or loyalty point redemption could all ride on the Solana rails without you even noticing. Then we've got stablecoins. Stablecoins such as USDC act as tokenized dollars, really clearing anytime, anywhere, and fully backed by short-term treasuries. And they really marry crypto speed with the safety of US debt, turning your phone into sort of this real-time dollar account that you can spend worldwide. So this is really a suite of products that have very specific functions that are reimagining the entire financial stack, and it's really opening back up.
That was actually a pretty good analogy from this guy. I hadn't watched that clip before. That's a pretty good analogy but yet again, I don't know, the Bitcoin and Ethereum stuff. I mean, it's just, I don't see that ending well. I just don't. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know, man. The manipulation here in crypto is exhausting. Never seen it so blatant in all these years. Out of control. All right, bud. Justin, Amazon plans to replace 600,000 US workers with robots. I wish they would do a better job. It's by 2030 or 2033, so it's a couple of years away. And they put that image of the humanoid-looking robots like Optimus from Tesla, but it could be as simple as like the Roomba-looking ones, because there is a good video of Amazon already utilizing robots, but they're not humanoid by any means. They're just kind of, yet again, Roombas, and they scan the QR codes and they just do the repetitive tasks. And the article also said they're looking to ditch 160,000 jobs to replace with either like AI enhancement or this by 2027. The future looks bright on one hand, and then it doesn't. I don't know, man. All right, so then we got this. Cadena, whatever the hell this is. KDA is the only layer 1 proof of work that scales. Oh yeah, it's the only one? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, well, apparently that's not the case, because whatever it was, it went under. It was a blockchain, went under for whatever reason, and yeah, the whole token went crash into the ground. Another one bites the dust. I had never heard of that in my life. I mean, I'm sorry to anyone who invested in it and got shafted, but I think I've been fortunate enough to have gone through that earlier enough in the space. Like, I invested in like such stupid shit, dude. There was one called like Fun Token or something, and their promise was that they were going to basically be the backbone of gaming and make like their online casino thing. Absolutely garbage. There was another one called Bytecoin with a Y, way back when, ended up being a scam. That was back really when it was the Wild West. It still is. I was a part of the Celsius collapse. You ended up getting your money back more or less if you went through that. Yeah, there was a couple of other ones, dude. So I've been through it. Thankfully, all that was out of the way early in the space for me, so then I could put my head down and focus on legit stuff. And this was an interesting clip from Tucker.
Do you invest in Bitcoin? Do you think it's like a viable asset to invest in?
Oh, man, I don't want to make more enemies. I mean, you want the real, it's my last answer, but you want the actual answer?
Yeah, sure.
Give us the answer. Let me speed him up.
And here's why. I spoke
bullshitting.
at the Bitcoin conference actually last year. I've spoken at a couple of Bitcoin conferences. I love the idea of Bitcoin because I love the idea of financial autonomy. I don't
it's a
want
good
my
idea.
buy or sell to be tracked. I don't want my money to be tracked. It's nobody's business. I pay my taxes. I've never cheated on my taxes. I've been very tempted, but I never have one time cheated on my taxes. And once the money's mine, like I can do what I want with it. And if you find me breaking the law, arrest me. But if you don't, it's none of your beeswax, as the kids say.
Yeah, that's never going to happen,
I love the
unfortunately. That's a
idea
pipe dream.
of the blockchain. I knew some of the people involved in that whole thing. And then
What does
I
that
still
mean?
believe in that promise, okay?
Because apparently
Like
his
a very
dad was
example,
high
how
up
close I
CIA.
follow this, but like, there are people who still believe in that. But it turns out that it is not, to this point, Ben, I hope it will be, a way to conduct financial transactions privately at all. And that really freaks me out. I'm really afraid of a digital currency because that is totalitarian control. If you can
What was I just
punish
saying,
people,
bro?
If you can zero out their bank account and keep them from eating, you will have total obedience. Like that's totalitarian.
That's
And
it.
I know that young people love crypto because they've been completely screwed in the job market and there are no financial opportunities for most of them. And they know they're
It's our
staring
only
down
way
a
out.
life of, if not poverty, certainly a step down from the way they grew up, most young people. And so Bitcoin for them, crypto in general for them is a promise of like, how can I make it in this world? Like I would like to have a normal life. How can I do that? And crypto
That's true.
is a way they think that they can. And I'm praying for them. I hope that's true. But
I think it will be for the
fear
utility.
that it will become like so many other things in our country, a scam of sorts, run by a coalition of the financial beneficiaries, like a few people who are getting all the winnings, and the politicians they control who use it to further their control of American society. I'm really worried about that.
Yeah.
And so I'll just be totally blunt with you. I'm a gold buyer, and I've been vindicated big time in that. And everyone's like, oh, you're crazy buying gold. Yeah.
Why would you be
It's
crazy
good
buying
enough for
gold?
the Phoenicians. It's good enough for me. And I, in general, don't get involved in anything I don't understand. I think that's a really good rule. So there's some things I think I understand. Turns out I didn't understand them. But in general, I try to limit myself to things I understand. And nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was,
Yeah.
the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious
Yeah.
guy who apparently
Yeah, the
died,
four of
nobody
them
knows who he was.
in
I grew up
California.
DC primarily in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it.
Yeah,
but like you're
that's
telling me to
my
invest in
guess.
something whose founder is like mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. Like, what is that? And no one
Yeah,
answers the
I
question.
mean,
And so
dude,
the
it's
biggest
sitting
thing
in a
is, what do I
wallet.
know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me, right?
That's what I still don't understand either about these Bitcoin people. Like, all right, I mean, the fact that they don't know who it is. Are you kidding me, dude? From a space satellite, they could find a pimple on your ass, and you're telling me they can't find Satoshi Nakamoto, even though she slipped up on stage saying there's four of them, and they met with them. The U.S. government's gonna find them, dude. The Silk Road, the whole Silk Road initiative, them shutting that shit down. They know. I mean, come on. So the fact that, like, yet again, they lie to us about anything you could even imagine. They could literally try to gaslight us next week and say that the sky's red, and people would be like, over a week, oh, it does kind of look red. I mean, like during a sunset, then they'd be like, oh, it is really red. But I mean, there was Dan Pena, some old guy. I don't really, he's like a financial guy, but he was ranting and raving that Bitcoin is the product of Russia. I don't know. I got no clue. That's a lot of people think they whacked John McAfee for that too, because he started spouting off about some shit. Yeah, that's the only hope our age demographic has, bro, is this, investing in the next infrastructure. That's it. Jennifer Barker, Global Head of Treasury Services at BNY Global, who is working with Ripple on crypto custody and on utilizing crypto and ISO 222 to innovate banking utilities, being able to move dollars 24/7. That's a big use case.
We were one of the leaders with real-time payments. We were actually the first bank to send a payment. When the credit limit increased, we were the first bank to send a payment there. We were one of the first banks on FedNow. The power of immediate payments is so important in this economy. And, we continue to work with our clients and, the 9,000-ish banks, Jackie, you mentioned adoption, we still have more work to do, right? And so getting those consumers and those communities access to immediate payments is a really first important step. Second is being able to move dollars 24/7. That is a big use case, particularly from our bank and our corporate clients who want to be inside the walls of BNY, able to settle dollars 24/7. So that's a really, and by the way, not a lot of banks can do that, which is why the digital asset structure really can potentially leapfrog some of the bank legacy infrastructure. But we've done both to make sure that we're ready. And the third is, AI, and we are heavy users of AI, particularly in the payment space, whether it's payment efficiencies and the operations, whether anomaly detection, fraud control. AI is going to really help us get more efficient and provide safer.
It's gonna do good for. We know. I ain't making fun of her, dude. And yet again, the BNY connections go back to Ripple so long ago. I can't. There is so much that goes on in this space that, in terms of the connections and who met who back in what year, it's like, at a point it is too much for my brain to handle it all, because there are connections everywhere. And then Ripple announced not too long ago, and I don't know how it didn't move the price, that they were going to, BNY was going to be the official custody for RLUSD, and people still don't understand how the adoption of RLUSD helps XRP in the long run, even though right now they're issuing it on Ethereum. Bro, it's to gain market share. Like, the end goal is, yet again, when Ripple now has G Treasury and they're getting all these monster platforms to then run the financial services of all these companies and shit, it's gonna eventually move to the XRPL, bro. It's more efficient and it benefits Ripple because they hold a lot of it. That's whether a lot of the stuff in their escrow is actually theirs or not. That's a huge other interesting theory. Just in, Hong Kong approves first spot Solana ETF. Okay, shout out Solana. According to Blibli, HBAR, Link, IOTA, and XLM are leading networks for real-world asset development over the last 30 days, with Hedera second to Chainlink. Yeah, these are the types of numbers you want to pay attention to too. You want to see developer activity, and you want to see real-world assets. You want to see the chart, so at least a consistent going up. I was surprised with Stellar's numbers according to their RWA. This was interesting. California signed SB 822 into law, becoming the first U.S. state to protect unclaimed crypto from forced liquidation. Digital assets must now be transferred in their native form rather than being liquidated to cash, a major win for crypto holders. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting that, like, out of all the stuff you could do in California, that's what they do. XRP scoop: Japanese gaming company Gummy Inc. announced they will join SBI Group and Ripple in the private investment in the PIPE of Evernorth XRP treasury business. $5 million will primarily be used to purchase XRP in the open market. Yo, that floodgate's coming, dude. I don't know what this is, but I wanted to see it. It looked like Mark Cuban. I think it is Mark Cuban. What is the audio?
I know, different look, right? I'm out here on this corner with a cardboard sign. Says exactly what I'm offering will work for XRP. I'm serious. Hustle is hustle. You got a job, a ride, a pitch deck, whatever. I know, different look.
Yo, he should have said he'll give you $4,000 for 20%. Oh, and PBD. PBD is such a cornball. It's actually insane. Like, look what he posted, these two turkeys. 1 hour at 900 degrees. 3 hours at 300 degrees. Some things burn when rushed. Others become a masterpiece with time. Dude, he's such a cornball. Look at his face, bro. This guy. Yo, I wouldn't want this guy selling me anything. Here we go. The Fed is exploring payment accounts for fintech and crypto firms. Guess who has been working on this for over a decade? Yup, Ripple XRP. Don't forget that Ripple has applied for a Fed Master account. Guess who will lead the movement? Yup, XRP. We're very close. Dude, it never ends. Today, the Federal Reserve banks provide access to master accounts and financial services to legally eligible entities following our guidelines for evaluating account and service requests. The payment account would be available to all institutions that are legally eligible for an account and could be beneficial for those focused primarily on payments innovations. Dude, Ripple's going to become a bank. I think that's endgame. Ripple Custody Bank. They applied for it. They're going to get the Fed Master. Even the skinny Fed Master is kind of what the governor from yesterday was talking about. It's lined up. No one's more regulated than them, bro. They have regulations everywhere. Because I remember it so vividly back in the day. It was crazy. Because everyone would be like, "Oh, but they're working everywhere but the US." Because that seemed like a good business strategy, bro, because they went all over the world, and that's who they were working with. They were working with all these banks, not US-based, and now, I mean, they were probably working with them in the shadows, if I'm being honest, but now it's all coming together. Look, are you kidding me? We're taking advice from this guy. Yeah, sell Tesla stock, even though they're coming out with iRobot. Like, they're going to be probably one of the leading people for that. Oh, I forgot about this yesterday. New, ProShares has officially filed for the ProShares CoinDesk Crypto 20 ETF to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. The fund will track the CoinDesk Crypto 20 Index, giving investors exposure to the top 20 digital assets by market cap. Here we go. Everyone's spouting this off, but I think when I looked into it, it's not spot. So they're not buying spot. Ideally, we want the ETFs that are spot buying from the open market, from us plebs. That's what we want. But even still, it's just good. It's good to give that legitimacy stamp. That's what it needs. Yet again, so that whole Bitcoin narrative, down with the banks, we're going to do this. No. Bro, you need the NYSE badge on it. You need Fidelity's badge on it. You need Charles Schwab. That's where the money's coming in. As of right now, there are 11 XRP treasury companies. Evernorth, 1 billion. Trident, 500 million. Weebus, it always reminds me of your weenus. Justin, Russian Ministry of Finance and the central bank have agreed to legalize payments in crypto for foreign trade. If that's true, that's insane. I wish these guys would fucking link anything yet again by Bitcoin Magazine. I can't take too seriously. I take it with a grain of salt because one, he doesn't link the article anywhere. So how am I supposed to know? And it's Bitcoin, so they're pro Bitcoin. And of course they're going to put the fucking Bitcoin logo to make people think that's what it is. Even though it's funny because what's his face? The Jack Dorsey, he's a Bitcoin maxi. He's over there tweeting, Bitcoin is not crypto. It's not crypto. It's in a league of its own. And then here we go, for crypto for foreign trade. Yeah, something tells me if they're moving stuff cross borders between institutions and everything, something tells me they're not using Bitcoin. But that, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they want to use inferior technology that doesn't serve the purpose they want. Who knows? White House advisor Hassett says government shutdown likely to end sometime this week. I'm not holding my breath. I would say most likely before November. If I just had a guess, I wonder what the poly market is sitting at. This was interesting. Robinhood lists BNB. I need to do more digging into Binance because there's a whole, it's just yet again, there's too much to keep track of in the crypto industry. But something happened with CZ, the owner, of Binance, the guy. He's the guy for Binance. Something happened with him, and everyone thinks Trump is going to end up pardoning him because apparently the exchange has done a lot of weird shit because it's a China-based exchange, right? And it was very odd to me that it wasn't really affected during the most recent flash crash, and it surpassed Solana and XRP. That was interesting. It seemed to gain value when a lot of the internet was blowing up claiming that Binance had something to do with it. Yet again, I don't know specifically what. I'm admitting that because I didn't look into it. There's just too much to keep track of in life in general. But that is something to pay attention to. That is odd. DAI. You won't be hearing this from Squawk Box, CNBC, Anthony Pompliano, Sailor, because it's a document that states the best performing asset among the CoinDesk 20 constituents in 2025. And no surprise, it's XRP. You look at the year, the percentage from a year up, and it's like 500 and something percent compared to like second best, maybe Bitcoin or something like that, and it's sitting around 200 or 300. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Everyone likes to talk about data and shit. I don't know, but then when they see that, they're like, no. It's just you got to ask yourself, what seems more likely if you try to take all your biases out? Does it seem more likely that XRP can eventually hit 10 or Bitcoin hit 1 million? Doesn't mean Bitcoin won't hit 1 million, but I don't know, I think $10 XRP comes a lot sooner than $1 million Bitcoin. Jim Cramer and his stupid face yet again, bro. We told people to sell gold on Monday. I reiterate that call as it has become a total spec meme Bitcoin replacement. Trim. This guy's such an idiot. I hate him. This was interesting. Crypto trading firm Falcon X is acquiring 21 shares, one of the largest crypto ETF managers, making moves. Tom Lee says the bull market has a lot more room to run. The S&P can close at least 7,000. Tom Lee does not pass the smell test for me.
But we have a
he's an Ethereum talking head, bro. He had connections to JP. Just seemed, I don't know. I like to think I can kind of read people. Sailor is kind of an easy one. You look at him and you're like, something seems off about this.
Valuation, I don't love it. They fall back on the former, which is why they believe that this move isn't over.
I'm in that camp too, Scott. I think that, we're entering the sort of critical last 10 weeks of the year at a time when not only earnings are good, but we have a Fed that's going to be in an easing cycle.
Forgot about interest rate cuts, too.
There's going to be some good news eventually on the shutdown. And then we know that there was already a bit of deleveraging that took place about 10 days ago because of that VIX spike and the headlines. And so there's going to be, I think, a setup for a chase into year-end. So I think all of this means that the S&P can close at least at 7,000. I actually think that's a low number by the end of the year.
You still do. So you must be a big believer then that the mega cap earnings that we're going to really get into next week are going to deliver.
That's right. Because I'm getting the sense that AI visibility
we're at 6,700.
Has actually improved. And I think that there's actually payback companies are seeing. And as they start to think about 2026, that's a priority for spend. So visibility should be improving. And then we have potentially lower interest rates next year, which is going to put some easing burdens on households and consumers. And as you know, the ISM's been below 50 for 32 months. I mean, that eventually gets back above 50 at a time when we're seeing onshoring. So, I mean, there's plenty of catalysts as people think about the next 12 months.
Yeah, Tom, I appreciate.
Oh, Tom Lee, you silly goofball. Who's this? Watch founder and CEO and BlackRock COO Rob Goldstein share their insights on the future of tokenization over the next 5 years. This is what we need.
5 years from now, that every instrument that is traded frequently will be traded on-chain.
I think it's quite clear that if there are $4.5 trillion in digital wallets today, that number is going up, not down.
No shit.
And that wealth accumulation is going to have the ability to create the whole portfolio in that digital wallet.
5 years from now, that every
clear.
Bro, I mean, what the hell? Like, it's not even that. Dude, I'm some random fucking Boston dude. And, like, years ago, I could see this coming. Now they're saying it out loud. It's crazy. Yet again, they've known this in the back rooms, but it's insane. Mr. Pompliano. Gold has dropped 8% in 2 days. I don't see any headlines claiming it as a bad store of value. So why do people write those headlines when Bitcoin does the same thing? The Bitcoin critics on the wrong side of history. Yeah, you say that. Yep. And as this whole time I've been recording, XRP is now sitting at 237, man. Yo, please stop going down. Like, it's so undervalued. It's crazy. It's the shakeout is real. What we should do is every time Jim Cramer tweets and we do a video, we're going to do that. We're going to check back in and we're going to see how much the price has dropped since then. Guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, notifications. I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you think the outcome year end is realistically? None of this crazy stuff. $1 million fucking XRP. No, that's not going to happen. I can't take you serious. What do you realistically? What do you think the game plan is? Do you think the spot ETFs come out, that starts rolling? Do you think it has the inverse? They come out, we all think it's going to bump the price, but it actually tanks it until early next year when the Evernorth can get in. That's what I'm thinking, unfortunately. That's what I'm thinking. But that's it. I'll see you in the next one.